What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is your host that does the absolute most, Evan Youngblood Williams here. And in today's video, we are talking about the big talker and the personality types of the Age series. So before we start the video, if you're brand spanking new to this channel and this is your very first video that you're seeing of me, I hope that this video adds lots and lots of value to your life and that it helps you along your journey and that you enjoy the content that you're getting thus far. And if you want to, make sure to go ahead and click the subscribe button and click the bell right next to it so you get notified every single Friday that these videos go on this channel at 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. And also make sure to go ahead and get your Spirituality Never Stops merch by clicking the link in the description below. And so, without further ado, let's get into the video. The very first trait that you need to know about the big talker is that they always make these outrageous claims, but they can't ever back it up, right? And you see this personality type in every single sector of life, whether it be in the 9-to-5 world, in business, in the spiritual world, especially with all of these fake gurus on the internet that are just popping up left and right, man. It's getting so freaking ridiculous that these guys just do all this boasting and talking. But if you do your research on them and you start studying their life of being, you start asking questions, you'll start noticing that they don't really have any success or accomplishments to their name. And so they feel like in order to make up for their lack of results, they have to keep doing all this yip yapping and talking simply because they don't have any results. And it's really sad to see that people in this personality type, they just make all of these claims but can never back it up with any real evidence. Like I said, they don't have a track record for success. And I used to, this was another toxic trait of mine, like I mentioned in the previous videos in this series, that I would just make these big old claims and I would just, just be talking, because I do talk a lot. If you guys haven't noticed, like that's something that I do behind the scenes a lot, is that I do a lot of talking. If I'm not talking to my significant other, if I'm not talking to, the peeps that I connect with on social media, if I'm not talking to my family members, I'm talking to myself. So my mouth is always going. Like if you shadow me for at least a day, you will know this to be true. Real talk. Like I, I would just be talking and talking. But, life has shown me the hard way through all of these hard lessons that I've, went through thus far on my path, that, I need to be able to, back up what I say, because otherwise, I won't be a trustworthy person. And that's the same thing for you. If you fit this personality type, is that if you can't back up your claims, then people aren't going to take you seriously in the long run, because they're just going to see you as a sucker who's just talking but can't never ever back it up. So if you are going to talk, if you are going to be, continue to hype yourself up, make sure you can actually do what you say that you can do, so that you're not wasting people's time. Like for me, like I know personally, like, after yesterday of talking to my significant other, I realized that, I'm not really much of a comedian. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter how hard I tried to be, it's just not my lane. And I'm just going to, admit that to you right while I'm having this conversation with you, is that, I'm no comedian, you know? My main gift is mainly in leadership and motivational speaking. But anyways, back to the topic at hand with the big talker, is that please, above all else, make sure that, like I said, you can back up what you say that you can do, so that, you up your credibility, because otherwise it's going to be real hard for you to get jobs, for you to maintain relationships, whether they're romantic or platonic. It's going to be hard for you to, really show trustworthy, because even after you do clean up your act, if you've been a big talker all of these years, then that's what people remember you by, and you're going to have to work twice as hard to overcome that image and show people that you've actually changed. So please don't do that to yourself. Do not make that same mistake that I did and numerous others have, of just talking up a big game, or just, making these outrageous bold claims but never delivering on that. So without further ado, let's move on to the next point. The second trait of the big talker is that they're afraid of putting in the actual work to make their dreams a reality, right? And it's just similar to the first point, to where, they just talk about this and talk about that, but they can never back it up. So for example, the big talker will always say like, man, I'm going to go ahead and build the biggest business ever. I'm going to make millions of dollars. I'm going to build up multiple, $1 million businesses. I'm going to ride in a Bentley and a Lambo, and I'm going to like do this and do that. But then if you look at their actions on a day-to-day basis, it doesn't match their ambitions. There's a disconnect. And then you ask them, later on, it's like, hey man, how's your business going? How's your book going? How's this going? How's that going? And so on and so forth. They're gonna be like, you're gonna be like, exactly. You was just doing all that talking, but you wasn't really doing anything. You see what I mean? And this is another reason why, if you happen to be a big talker, that nobody takes you seriously, is because you make these outrageous promises and you keep boasting about what you're going to do instead of actually doing it. And so people after a while are just going to be like, okay, this person is BSing. I'm not going to mess with that person anymore. And that's why, this personality type also has a difficulty of maintaining relationships, or more specifically, solid, sustainable, healthy relationships in the long term, because they are not honest with themselves. And that's another thing that I want to touch bases with you as we're having this conversation, is that, you know, you have to learn to get into the habit of taking action on whatever you say it is that you want to do, or what you're going to do. And you had to, most of all, be honest with yourself, because if you're dishonest with yourself, then it's going to be next to near impossible to be honest with other people. So really, please be brutally honest with yourself. Is that thing that you say that you want to accomplish something that you actually are going to commit to long term? Are you going to put in the time and energy that it takes to build multiple $1 million businesses? Are you going to put in that work into starting that YouTube channel, writing that screenplay, making that movie, starting that podcast, whatever it is that you say that you love to do and want to do? Are you willing to put in the time for it and the energy, and go through obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, and go through a learning curve that it takes to be successful in whatever you say that you want to succeed in? Please, 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 please use this as an opportunity to go within and really ask yourself these questions, because this will unfold a lot of clarity for you. And you may even, and hell, you'll even discover what is the reason why you don't keep your promises to yourself and other people, right? So with that being said, I'm going to move on to the very next point. All right, so another trait of the big talker is that they always make an excuse for why they can't finish what they start. They'll say things like, oh man, I'm too tired after working an 8-hour shift at work. I ain't got the time, man. I got this going on and I got that going on. Man, I gotta watch my favorite TV show. I gotta watch my favorite movie. I gotta go to, said family event, and so on and so on and so forth. Excuse me, I just burped a little bit. I don't know if the mic picked it up. But anyways, they they always have some type of excuse ready to go every time you ask them, like, hey bro, like, why isn't that project finished? And again, this makes you lose credibility with people, and this ruins your chances of building meaningful, long-lasting, sustainable, healthy relationships with other people, simply because you always have an excuse as to why you never ever finish what you start. And because you are keeping this habit going, it's causing you to really, really lose credibility and cool points and even money, because this is going to affect you financially, especially if you have dreams of being an entrepreneur and you can't deliver projects on time to your clients and you're constantly making excuses to them. Then that's just going to make you look bad all over, and you're going to have bad reviews all over your businesses. And when people, every time your name is brought up with people in general, like, this is not just for if you want to be a business owner, but this is also for just like life advice in general, is that whenever your name is brought up and you happen to be a big talker that can't finish what they start, people are going to be like, oh no, I wouldn't be friends with that guy or girl, because they don't ever, they always make up some type of excuse, and they always are, doing this and doing that. They're always making these wild claims, but they can never ever ever back it up. And you don't want to have that label attached to you, do you? I thought so. So, make it a point to change that, if this sounds like you right now, or if this is not you, make sure that you keep up that positive momentum and keeping your promises with people, and making it a priority to always, always, always finish what you start. Always. So, with that being said, I'm moving on to the next point. All right, so the final point that I will touch on in this video before I wrap it up is that big talkers spend their entire lives avoiding situations that are going to open them up to criticism. And the reason being is because they know that if they do that, they are going to get exposed for who they actually are. And a lot of big talkers are all over social media. Like, you see them every freaking where. Like, people are just making these wild claims on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. No matter what the platform is, they always make these big, outrageous claims. And then whenever people see right through them and call them out on their BS, they get exposed, and then they're very embarrassed, and then they get real defensive with the person, and then they may just disappear off the internet completely altogether. Why? Because they weren't their authentic selves from the get-go. They was just putting on this mask and this persona for the public to see, and they weren't actually being who they truly are behind the scenes. And it's just like Robbie Cornelius said in his podcast, Self Mastery Radio. I don't know if you guys have listened to his podcast, but I highly do recommend that you go check it out, because he has some amazing, dope content on his podcast. And me and him talk about similar topics. But anyways, like Robbie Cornelius was saying in one of his episodes, is that the person that you are behind closed doors is the same person that you need to be in the public, right? And that's something that I've been working on doing more and more and more with my content, is just bringing more of my true self to it, because I don't want to just be bringing a caricature of me, or just doing what I think people want to see, and just making videos and speaking on topics that I think people are going to resonate with, just to boost up my views, subscribes, and likes, you know and I'm pretty much at that point on my content creation journey, to where I can just probably say that, what you see is what you get. So the same person that I'm behind closed doors is the same person that you're going to see on camera. So there's no surprises. And like I told you at the beginning of the video, I'm no comedian. And me and my significant other was having this conversation last night. And I was just like, man, the only reason why I started my reaction channel, Youngblood Reacts, was because I wanted to let loose and show my comedic side. And like I told you, she told me that comedy wasn't my thing. And I'm not going to lie to you, I did get real defensive and, irritated with her when she did say that. But I already knew deep down within my soul that she was telling the truth. And she was just like, hey, just use that to your advantage, you have this serious look on your face. You can't really help it. I mean, it's a part of who you are. So just learn to embrace it and roll with it and just use what God gave you, because for a long time, you know, I've just been trying like these different strategies on YouTube to try to, widen my audience and my slash fan base. But the one element that was missing was my authenticity. And so, I'm just making it a point now to be as much of my authentic self as possible while I'm on camera, just as I am off camera. Because with me, like another thing you need to know about me is that, I talk to myself quite a bit. And if you hang with me on a day-to-day basis, you're going to catch me at least once talking to myself. It happens. I mean, I have real deep, intimate conversations with myself. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I do get embarrassed when strangers do catch me, but at the same time, I know that I'm just going within myself and just really just doing deep introspective work. But anyways, enough about me. Like that's pretty much what I wanted to cover in this video. I was just rambling on and on and on about me. I do apologize for that. But anyways, I just had to keep it real with you and just tell you that so that there are no surprises in case you do catch me in public. So with that being said, I am going to end the video right here. So if you have enjoyed the content thus far and it's added lots and lots of value to your life and to your path in general, make sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that bell right next to it so you get notified every single Friday that I upload these videos. And like I told you, with the situation that I'm in, if you want to help out, that's great. If not, that is totally fine. I'm just happy that you stuck around to this point of the video and at least gave me a chance to speak with you, and that's enough for me. Like, it is what it is. And also if you would like to get you some merch like this shirt that you're seeing right here, you can go ahead and click the link in the description below. And also, make sure that, if you're open to this idea of being a part of my private Facebook group specifically for subscribers of this YouTube channel, the link to that is in the description below as well. And like I said, like every single link of mine that I mentioned in this video is in this video slash podcast episode is in my link tree, because I house everything in there since it makes it easy for people to go find my stuff all in one place. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have Linktree, you need to get it because, it'll clean up a lot of links out of your stuff. But anyways, make sure to go ahead and join my Facebook group and also claim your free guided meditation as well by clicking the Linktree link as well. And also, I'm going to say this yet again. And if you've been watching my videos for a while now, you would know that I always mention my significant other. And I will never ever stop doing that. So you should just get used to it, okay? Okay? You got an understanding? All right? Cool. Anyways, if it wasn't for my beautiful significant other, I wouldn't be doing even a teeny tiny bit of what I'm doing now. And that's just me being real. Like if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have the courage to start a YouTube channel and to do podcasting like I'm doing with the Spiritual Intellectual Show and, doing all the other stuff that I have on the back end right now. Because, before her, I wasn't really pushing myself to really do all this other stuff. And so, the very least that you can do is go ahead and follow her on all of her social media accounts. You already know if you've been watching these videos for the past few Fridays, she's active on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to, go ahead and follow her on TikTok as well, so that, you can go ahead and converse with her and book your session with her. And peace in and out with the highest vibes. And I'll catch you guys next Friday.